feminism is literally the destruction of our society. Society really cheated women in convincing them that they are like, it is their world. If you are asking a woman to close herself in the sense that, no, I could do it on my own, I'm going to be independent, I don't need no man, like all of this kind of, what that does is it shields away a woman from being her true divine self.
It's like, well, if going out on a date with a guy makes me a slut, then that's just what I'm gonna be.
I don't think going out on a date makes you a slut, but having sex with different men makes you a slut.
Well, what does it make you if you have sex with different women?
A slut maker.
You mean you killed off real heroes so that you could pretend to be one?
You're saying that women don't go through anything heroic. What about giving birth?
That's how low the standard is.
Yeah.
That she's referencing something that almost all women do. Like, that's amazing. And in fact, it's a natural process. You don't even have to earn the ability to do it. It literally is inevitable. All you have to do is, like, not use a condom. Because I can tell you this, if you ask this young lady, is she intelligent, she'd look you dead in your eyes and say yes. If you ask her, does she have manners, she'd say yes. But she's been interrupting and she's been rude and unruly this whole time, which is why I have to address it. Because too often guys will look at her and say, you know, she's attractive. I want to smash, and because they want to smash, they're about to start tap dancing and like being real nice, and because they've never told her the truth, she doesn't even know the truth.
It's a system that's slowly starting to dissolve, and I know that's a good thing. Before feminists were broadly exposed, the message they hid behind was that they were the pinnacle of virtue. They propped up suffragettes and martyrs for a false cause, painting the image of pure women with pure intentions. It evolved into this pseudo-religion with its own saints and leadership that created new rules with no roots in reality. And for a while, it actually worked. But now they're exposed, and millions of men, young and old, can witness, with a few clicks, what has become of this supposedly honorable regime. Many of us knew what these women were. We knew that if this were to continue, it would snowball into more and more irrational demands. Twos thinking they're tens, single mothers asking that people compare them to the Virgin Mary, and club girls presenting themselves like a soldier that just survived D-Day. It's why that perfectly reasonable role of the nuclear wife, cooking a meal and bringing it to her overworked husband, turned into something that resembled more of a work of fiction. Now, the West doesn't have any of that. Now they have this.
You cannot say that you like thick girls with all this thigh, and you can't handle a little bit of belly or some back rolls.
Elephant, honey. It's an elephant.
I'm gonna fucking ride hard for myself, and I'm gonna say I'm a 10 out of 10, and I don't care who the fuck has to say anything on this shit. You guys can call me ugly all you want, but fuck you, motherfuckers.
This question actually really bothers me. Like,
well, I mean, let's say you're 5. Let's say you're totally average. You're not particularly remarkable in any regard, and you think you're a 10. Don't you think it'd be more confident to just be like, yeah, I'm a 5?
I kind of want to just bounce.
Seriously? Because you're that triggered over this conversation?
I didn't do enough research on this.
Because we're talking about rating?
Talk about people's attractiveness.
She was perfectly fine when the mic was hers, but as soon as it was time to listen to an accurate take, she conveniently said, well, would you look at the time? I gotta run. Women talk about how the podcast they hop on, or just the general conversation they joined, is the reason why they dip out. However, the fact of the matter is they're not running from any of these things, not when you look at the core of the issue. What's really happening is that all of their confidence is built on a narrative that's about as resilient as papier-mâché. For years, they've been watching updates and reboots that remove the story of the accurate female, serving men and treating them like the prize, with a woman who walks out looking like a stick figure, somehow magically capable of beating the crap out of a bunch of dudes that never skipped leg day. These stories are the only true fiction, and at their core, women know this is to be true. That said, when they aren't held accountable, when they don't stand in front of the mirror, they get to hold on to the lie like a child with a snow cone. And that's the thing. They aren't heroes. They aren't people worthy of respect just because they exist. Nobody is. And yet, for the longest time, they've been led to believe it. So, now we see marches. We see chicks line up thinking they're going to win a medal for breathing. It all has to do with re-education.
What do women need to go to school for? Have you ever taken a look at what they major in? Who's gonna do this anti-feminist movement if there aren't learned women in the world? I never went to college. I had my first baby at 20, the way the Lord intended, and that's beautiful. And you're obviously very intelligent and can speak for yourself, and that's so awesome. I don't need a university degree and a bunch of debt.
I have.
This is how to change a hubcap, part 1. Go! Go.
Amazing tutorial, brilliantly executed. Seriously, when are we going to be able to go back to calling stupid people stupid? See, women were never able to compete in demanding careers, not by a large margin, but that just wouldn't do. After all, women had to be heroes, and they had to be the savior of the universe, one that was ironically stable before they desired to play a large part in it. And that's not necessarily because all of them are idiots, although today that argument struggles to hold water. It's because they were woefully unequipped to handle the many masculine tasks that keep the world in motion. The Western system did to women what the average mediocre teacher does with the underperforming class. Sure, all of you can be president one day. Don't worry, Timmy. Sure, you're 100 pounds wet and the size of a fun-sized Twix bar, but that doesn't mean you can't dunk on LeBron. Or the classic, all of you are special, you just haven't figured it out yet. The former, if you haven't guessed, it's the one that is almost always reserved for women in the Western landscape, but seldom is it ever told to young men. Instead, women are taught that not only can they do anything men can do, but they can do it better. While most boys are told that they have this demon inside of them, something natural that has to be extinguished before it becomes a threat to the modern institutions. And now the protected class gets more and more unhinged with each passing year.
So I was talking to a male friend of mine the other day, and he told me that women don't apologize and women can't be held accountable. And I began to really think deeply about this idea. And one of the things that came across my mind is in the last 9 months or so of me being in my private practice, I have myself experienced many women, whether they came in as a couple or they came by themselves, they very abruptly discontinued their therapy. And I started to reflect and really think, what was going on here? And I noticed that after I had to confront them about something, I had to bring to their attention something they were doing that wasn't contributing to the health of the relationship, they became very defensive and very, just very harsh, and they stopped coming.
Welcome to the real world.
I was single, and then I met someone who partook in that journey with me, in the frame that he became my long-term relationship for 3 years.
Not the f***ing journey again.
Okay.
Did you do another journey? How many journeys have you done? Everything's
journey,
not a f***ing journey. Nobody took the journey to own. What the heck? What is this journey?
I was.
Why is every woman have nothing but journeys? They took the journey with. It's not a journey. You weren't just a small-town girl living in a lonely world who took the midnight train going anywhere, okay? You weren't her. It's not a f***ing journey. All right.
A journey. It's what every woman calls it in this day and age. If they got in a car wreck they were responsible for, it's a journey. If they enrolled in a multicultural gender studies course and lost their job as an affirmative hire, it's a journey. If they sleep with their boss while the husband works 3 jobs and the kids are left to their own devices on the verge of starvation, you guessed it, it's a journey. And it's important to recognize that words are important here, because it's words they fear and manipulate to achieve hollow success. The chicks on these platforms use journey, because it insinuates that they have come out of the side of the hero's journey, a timeless story structure that follows a protagonist on an unforeseen quest, where they face challenges, gain insights, and return home transformed. But the thing is, they haven't fought a dragon or survived an atrocity. They got the wrong order at Starbucks or cheated on a guy with their ex. So sure, they transformed, but the rest just doesn't add up. The quest wasn't unforeseen. We all knew what Denise was going to do at the club on a Wednesday night. The only challenge they faced was what part of someone else's life they chose to threaten or damage, and if this wasn't the most obvious one, they gained absolutely zero insights when they came out of the experience. And that's because their, quote, journey was applauded by the many women that insist on promoting fake lives to inflate already crazy demands.
You see how I don't date broke men? Very mindful, very demure. I'm not like you other girls. I don't go 50-50 with a man. A man picks me up. I don't drive to see a man. A man pays for my Uber.
Enormousness.
I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying this out loud, but women, if you are in a relationship or dating, remember there is no 50-50. You shouldn't be paying any bills, not because you can't, but because your man should be treating you like a queen. And I felt like saying that because I'm right in front of the Buckingham Palace in London, and I realized that every man should treat his woman like a queen, because otherwise there are a million others who are totally ready to do that. So don't settle for anything less than you deserve, ladies.
Nobody wants her.
Who do you think should pay on the first date?
I think it should be men.
I would say men for the first date.
A lot of you said you believe in equality, but it's interesting when it comes to paying for the first date, you want the guy to pay. How do you reconcile being in favor of equality but also holding men to their traditional gender roles?
Dating and hoflation just might be the best example here. See, women don't want to do anything with what is required to be heroic. They just want to play their role like LARPing in the local park. They want the titles, the recognition, the awards, and the standing ovation, but they got no idea what it actually takes to earn this kind of merit. So they created participation trophies, movies that show a high body count woman aging like fine wine, and a horde of thirsty simps running after them in every music video. Even though all of them, in real life, inhabit an empty room, waiting for the 100th like on their IG bikini pic so that, just for a moment, they can falsely confirm that they are the main character of their own warped story. You and I know that this is an act. It's a play that's been put on for over 100 years so that women can walk with the belief that a world devoid of masculinity is the only world worth living in at all. To them, it would be a glorious day if all of us congregated on an iceberg until it melts into the sea. And this wasn't always the case. The act was seen for what it was, a silly performance. But the thing about letting a performance go on for too long is that most start to believe it. They have a harder and harder time differentiating between what is tangible and what isn't.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not. Taylor is the first person to become a billionaire only from her music.
Well, you're wrong, sweetheart. Paul McCartney, Andrew Lloyd Webber, Rihanna, Michael Jackson, Jimmy Buffett, and the list goes on. Also, why do you Swifties all sound the same? It's like this distinguishable whine behind everything you say. Dang, that is so tough.
Close.
Our flag. What did you do for yours?
Thank you for your service. Masculine service. And at this point in my little rant here, the only example of real service. For many of the uninitiated, they think MGTOW is something literal, which aside from the passports, is far from accurate. From the east to the west, men are still out there working their asses off. They're typing away as the boss has a conniption fit, boxing up products for those unable to get it themselves, welding underwater in stormy seas, or losing their limbs to protect the principle that they and their loved ones believe in. Walking away doesn't mean abandoning your morals, or avoiding the responsibilities that masculinity requires. It only means that men aren't going to put up with the song and dance anymore, because it would mean endorsing a message that is ludicrous on every level. We're still out here doing the same thing our fathers, and their fathers, and their fathers have done. Real men still put everything they're into everything they do, without whining about how they didn't receive kudos for waking up and curbing their anxiety with the latest horoscope. On a massive scale, men have not changed a bit, not in the slightest. We take everything on the chin, and the only thing we desire in return is that the opposite side of the aisle recognizes themselves for what they really are. But there's a good chance this won't be possible, at least in our lifetime, because this is what we continue to deal with in the modern world.
I have very complex traumas.
I could spend
but isn't it
a lot
awful,
of time telling you
But
about
isn't
it.
it awful convenient to say when I do it, it's excused. When you do it, it's because you're a psychopath?
Well, to be honest with you, you're a predator. I'm not.
Well, you're not a predator?
No.
What makes me predatory and you not predatory?
I don't go out seeking to hurt people. You do.
Who do I go out to seek to hurt?
Me.
How did I seek to hurt you?
You are seeking to show the followers that I am basically not worth living, not worth speaking, not worth breathing.
What are you talking about?
Not worth having an opinion. My opinion.
Well, if your opinion is bad, then yes.
You are a very condescending person.
She is very direct, very articulate, very charming.
Where do you find people now?
Church.
No, it's a bad place to find a woman now.
Why?
Terrible place. Well, because what happens is there's what's called the Great Reformation. Here's how this works.
Uh-oh, I'm not going to like this, I'll tell you right now.
What happens is there's a lot of women out there who are getting into their 30s, and they've realized that they have ridden what we like to refer to as the carousel, and they did it for a long time.
It's true.
They couldn't find a guy, and so in their 30s now, they're kind of screwed. And so what they do is they reform and find Jesus, and then go to the church, and then when they're at the church, they try to meet guys, and that's really a big problem.
But is it a problem if they really find Jesus?
Maybe they're coming for all the right reasons, but it really doesn't change the fact that I don't think that if a man in his 20s and 30s doesn't want to marry a former because she converted to Christianity, he probably doesn't need to.
It's sad, but it's true. See, feminists aren't just, well, not heroes. They're also the villains. Because of them, many of the institutions that masculinity has built are packed to the brim with aging women who want a second chance at the game. The obvious problem with this is that naturally, when it comes to women, the past really does matter. It's why female pastors who have formed their own congregations often are seen joining LonelyFans because apparently God told them to do so. When they try and make the effort to change, the issue is that naturally, this is next to impossible. However, and here's where the silver lining comes in, men haven't changed. At least not where it counts. The only thing that's changed is the way they navigate the Western world and the challenges that come with it. At that point, it's not a change of character, but rather the adaptive skill set men have as soon as they're able to stand up and walk. We're no strangers to hardship. We'll always be here, moving and shifting, in order to make a better life for ourselves and those we care about. It's why we're not putting up with the trivial nonsense that is feminist culture, and why the movement for them, although loud, is slowly dying.
No warning. Ma'am, don't steal the sign. You can't steal the sign. You're on camera stealing a sign. Sam! Officer, she's stealing a sign. You're not going anywhere. Right now you're being detained, okay?
Detained for what?
Larceny, you stole his sign.
He has it back.
Okay, yeah, because I got it from you.
I moved it 50 yards.
I don't care if you moved it 1 foot. You don't have a right to take someone's property, okay? Period. I don't care what the circumstance is. You don't have a right to take anyone's property. He was holding it, therefore it was his, and you took it, okay? I know you may not agree with what's being said, but you don't have a right to take someone's property, period, okay? 16 minutes.
What?
You're under arrest for
You
admitted to taking a sign from me.
Well, all I did was I just walked it over here. I was gonna give it back to him.
What's up?
Hey, I just got your $30. When you gonna send me the rest?
The rest of what?
The rest of the money.
What you mean? You said you were hungry. You need gas too?
No, I just want something to eat. That's why I'm confused on why you sent me $30.
I'm confused on why you calling me complaining about $30.
Cause what I'm gonna do with this?
I can name about 20 places you can go to and still have change left over. Where the hell are you trying to go to, Noble?
No, but you know I like to eat.
You don't even finish your food.
I do. Sometimes. But this is really bothering me because this girl made this video and said that if the dude that you're talking to only sent you $30 for lunch, that he don't really like you like that. And that's how... Oh, hell no.
Good afternoon.
Did you just hang up in my face?
Yes.
Why would you do that?
You calling me complaining about $30 because some random mentally unstable woman got on the internet yapping about how $30 ain't enough for food.
That's exactly what I did. She has some valid points.
You lucky I didn't block you.
But are you going to send me some more money?
Can you send me back the $30?
No. Why?
They said food is good for the brain, but you don't deserve to eat right now. So start for a little bit and think about what you just said.
Guys, at the end of the day, this female empowerment bullshit is something we all understand on a deep level. It's a Kool-Aid cult, one where those marching for it continue to reject rationality every chance they get. Men have been, and always will be, the real heroes of the story, as long as we stick to our convictions and ignore the noisy crowds that try to get in our way. And if you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you. So don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment to have a chance to win, and hit that subscribe button for daily videos. And if you could take a quick sec to subscribe to the second channel, Misguided Reacts, link is right down below in the description, so we can be sure our message will keep on reaching the new men out there. I appreciate all the support, y'all.